everybody, and welcome to another round of the Azure Dreams Riders of the Sky tournament. Today we've got Shauny versus Chai. I'm doing a second tower match. These are all second towers match. That is the special format of this tournament. But what we've got here today is Azure Dreams, a PlayStation 1 roguelike RPG. It is a dungeon crawler of a mystery dungeon sort of variety with some twists. Unlike our regular tournaments, this one uses the second tower, a feature of the game that was cut some point before development and dummied out, but using cheat codes or the randomizing de-randomizer, we are able to access it. It is an endless randomly generated dungeon with randomly generated monsters. They will have 2 hours of free re-entries. They can enter as many times as they want to get a new tower full of randomly located monsters and loot. And then after that, they will have an hour of one single entry remaining. And their goal is to get as high as they can, as fast as they can. Apologies if that comes across a little loud. I have not entirely gotten a new microphone perfectly set up. And also should stop using my theater voice. But in the meanwhile, they are off. We have added one particular twist to the game, to the first floor, besides skipping the tutorial sections, and that is this barong. It is going to spit out random items for as long as they want to throw them in. And we'll see. The shield is a sensible thing to use as their first item to feed to the barong. It's not going to do them a whole lot of good, really. Shields aren't worth much in Azure Dreams, and are also sometimes very important. They're going to head up. One of the differences of this is that we've got Gauche available. That is sort of the rival character of this game, whose gameplay function is more or less this exact little duel. If you choose to fight it, it can give you some interesting things, mostly a free medicinal herb if you win the fight, and maybe a wind crystal, which will be very hard to come by in the tower otherwise. The second tower is not kind about them. But we're also seeing one of the things that make it distinct, besides the randomized backgrounds, which include some not featured in the regular tower, and the randomized monsters, some of which are also not featured in the regular tower and can be only gotten through evolution. There's also, it conceals all the names of all the items, pretty much. So in order to know what they are, you're going to have to use them, or just not know what you have. And that's a fun little twist. Oh, that is a nice find. And Shauny is going to want to keep that if at all possible. Well, because that is the best weapon in the game. It looks like Jai is not entirely sure how to go about handling the zoo. They can be some pretty tricky situations, and slam track apparently happened while I was looking at Shauny's side of the screen. And that's gotta be spooky, but a fireball will clean that up pretty much right away. Right. Sometimes an item will be a slow seed, like we saw on Shauny's side for a second there, and wow! Those zoos do a lot of damage. That was a crit, but that was still a lot of damage. That's not going to be friendly. Luckily for the fruits, most of the useful fruits are pretty much not going to be consumed when you eat them, so that's handy. Unfortunately, the tumna fruit is, and so that can be a dangerous situation. Right now, most of the monsters are the monsters you would see on the floor normally, except of course for the zoos, which are like the one replacement monster. This will be evolving more or less floor by floor so that a couple of monsters are cycled in and a couple of monsters are carried over, and then they are cycled out and new monsters replace them, like a little leapfrog setup. It's very cute. Metals, okay, this is a wind-heavy second tower, and oh, I did not see what happened on Shy's side, but it's not good. Warp Trap, I'm guessing? It's not good. Kyun is already down, and that's leaving Chai in a much worse position than Shauny. The fights are more or less already quickly fading out of possibility. And we'll see if there's ever anything Chai gets that can help with that. Yeah, that fireball's only got 5 charges. It is not going to last the entire tower, and you can't pick up zoos, so we're probably not going to see this run get very far on Chai's side. He's going to try and find a way out and can sprint for a while, but it's rough. Oh, Ifrits. Those are a perfect example of a monster you don't see in the regular tower. That is the evolved form of the flames. At this level, they won't be too strong, but they are reasonably tough, I would say. They're kind of mid-tier monsters. But, like, the metals are just a little bit unpleasant, frankly. When you don't have a Fire Kyun and you don't have the fire-based special attack with same type attack bonus that Kyun is offering. When this isn't Pokemon, it's much harder. So okay, we've got Metals, Naplasses, and Ifrits on floor 4. Actually, the Metals might have been phased out. No, Metals had probably not been phased out, but that's still a good chunk of tricky monsters. Those Naplasses are going to hit very hard. In Azure Dreams, you need the power of friendship, or alternately, luck. Well, actually, you need the power of friendship and or luck and or like a lot of things to get you out of fights, because eventually the power of friendship is just not gonna cut it. You need stronger friends. Unlimited Oleems would be good, yes. Unlimited Oleems, a fantastic inventory. And a good bit of luck, because pretty much the pace at which Ko is outpaced by the monsters is very fast, and in the second tower, it has the room to be lightning fast. Chai, more or less, cannot expect to win any direct fight he experiences now. It's over. Or from a direct fight context. And now it's just a matter of, oh, you can pick up zoos. I forget why I thought you can't. It's just one of those interactions I never remember. Or usually remember, and then promptly forget the moment it becomes inconvenient for me to forget. But we see Chai using the way the enemies move to avoid attacks and to avoid fights. Unfortunately, this also means that Chai is stuck waiting in that hallway for all the monsters to turn at the intersection. Monsters politely follow the left-hand rule. Well, even the ones that don't have hands or limbs of any kind, actually. In rooms, they will behave a little bit different differently. They will just immediately gun for you. In the floors themselves, they will pretty much proceed left hand against the wall, and won't spot you until you're only about 3 blocks away, which makes Natlus is kind of one of the easier monsters to avoid in that sense, because they will eventually give you the distance you want. Oh, Shauny using a weak ball, it looks like. That can be handy for scouting, but it doesn't do terribly much by itself. It's just handy in case he finds any other balls to know that they're weak balls. And, well, if that's what you have to use, it's better than nothing. But yeah, looks like it is rapidly. That is a decent chunk of damage as it gets Chai there, and he doesn't want there to be any more, but it's time to think very carefully about every action, because this run, this particular climb might already be over. Luckily, it's not very far in. We have a whole lot of re-entry time left remaining before they have to commit to their run, which is gonna come in handy because there's very little Chai has to work with. Yeah, that'll buy you a second, but like a second, and oh, that could be very bad. It wasn't, but that could have also been very bad. It's paralysis o'clock. Luckily, actually none of that landed, and Chai managed to just keep walking. There's the elevator. That's one more situation Chai can get out of. Oh, and there are snowmen up ahead. Whew, that's unpleasant. That spell ball could be a real game changer, but when will you get a good opportunity to test it, Chai? Yeah, those snowmen, very strong. Water elemental, which makes them a little bit annoying for even Shauny to deal with, because fire is weak against water. Or we all understand basic elements here. And snowmen are a water type, because water and ice are roughly equivalent. Meanwhile, all the monster AIs are going to get a little bit confused about that current corner, and that's the best thing. That is what you want to see. Leather shield o'clock. Shauny will debate with me about whether the leather shield is the best shield, but it's certainly undeniably one of the better shields because it has an increased dodge chance, and increased dodge chances are really going to save your bacon when you can't fight things. Meanwhile, Chai was hoping that ball was useful, but it isn't. It is not at all helpful in this context. Chai really had some terrible luck on this first run. Gonna egg bomb out of that way, that's pretty solid. And like, if he dies, he can't take any of this with him. So what good will it do him? But unfortunately, he is just stuck. There's just so little he can do in this situation. There's that leather shield proccing. If only it could have done something. I mean, something more. It did avoid one attack, but not the attacks that could have allowed it to get away, because there just weren't any. So now Chai has to keep going to re-enter, no gear. Here, no reassurance. We'll see what Chai ultimately does from here. Kyun didn't get the chance to gain a lot of levels, so he's just going to have to hope to find a good tower. And some good gear. He might make several attempts just to see what the first floor offers before committing. We've seen that happen in this tournament before. In the meanwhile, actually, oh, Shauny doesn't have music, that's why there's no music. Some of these floors either bug out, we think, because leveling up will get the music back inexplicably. Azure Dreams is a perfectly programmed game, and the second tower is a perfectly programmed, polished experience, and not a thing that vanished sometime in the dev time. We have some theories that maybe it was still included in review copies, because we do see reviews talk about 99 floors, and this theoretically can go on for more than that, but it does get a bit unstable after 99. But by the time it reaches release, the entrance, that special little elevator, was closed off for reasons of they probably did not get it working perfectly. It's a shame, because so many interesting items and interactions are hidden away in this little corner of the code. We do have a Discord. I will see if you want more information about how to access this new game plus, basically, of Azure Dreams. I see that it is not included in the Azure command, so I will just drop the link. That. Be sure to check us out if you have any interest in this curious little concoction of a game. Chai, so far it looks like has not found anything of particular use. Use an Earth Shield, which is the worst shield to be stuck with. It's not terrible as a shield, but because it gives you Earth elemental defenses, and Fire elemental monsters are spell trigger happy. Yeah, it could be a debug tower. I'm not entirely sure about that, though. In part because we have these mechanics and these item drops which are specific to the second tower, even though they work. We have backgrounds and visuals that work. We have a lot of things that work of the second tower, but there's something about it that's not perfectly finished. They might have debugged and disabled it, but if so, why cut? Why then cut the items that are perfectly functional? You know, this does feel like something they were intending on having it be a part of the game, and then didn't. And it's interesting that they decided not to ultimately keep it. So, you know, it does, as mentioned before, get a bit unstable after the 99th floor, and can be a little bit dicier than the regular tower just in general. And also very mean, and Chai does not have the inventory I would want in Chai's shoes, though there is at least that wind crystal. Chai can leave whenever it gets too rough, and can keep the medicinal herbs and the earth shield, I suppose. Yeah, it's not great yet, but there might be something more useful here. Meanwhile, Shauny has found some glasses. We'll probably see what those are in not too long, and oh, Mana Weavas are here, and they probably can already morph. Though, I never remember that properly. Really, I have heard contradictory things about whether or not Mana Weavas can already morph on this particular floor. Later on, they definitely can. And even on floors they wouldn't be in the vanilla tower, where Shauny taking the time to identify some items. While the Holy Bell getting used up is probably a little bit sad, it could be much worse. Much worse. This will at least buy him time in case any of those herbs were something unpleasant. He is feeling investigating the floor for inventory just a little bit more. Or deciding that the killers aren't so bad, the Manaweavas are more or less what he would be expecting to fight on this floor. And anyway, our blind is a bat. And so it's a pretty manageable state of affairs. Also, I bet he would like a wind crystal just to be on the safe side. Chai finding a fire crystal. The crystals, the weapons, and technically the Oline fruit are the items identified. Shauny using that weak ball for scouting purposes. This is letting it continue across the screen until he can identify what items are, or where rooms might be, or so on. Looks like we've got Collar Jack Kalimpas on the first tower's floor 9. And those are like really great. Those are great. They are bags of admittedly somewhat limited EXP with really no fight in them. Oh dear, and Chai was primarily relying on Kyun for attacking. That's going to be a risky prospect, particularly because, yeah, it's just... Kyun, I don't think is going to break AI for this one, which is unfortunate. Chai just not being able to catch a break here, basically. Now, of course, Kyun can fight back properly. But, okay, still has a decent chunk of HP, so that's not bad. This whole situation could have gone way worse, but that's admittedly true about a lot of situations. Azure Dreams is a game of, if it hasn't killed you, you just haven't been in a bad enough spot yet. Admittedly, some of those spots would have to be very bad. But there's always something. Oh, deaths. Those are a little intimidating. They can be pretty high damage, but they're still mostly not going to be the worst things in the world. And fire is still going to more or less turn them into gloop. I think it's a reasonably good decision to get the salamander, to use the salamander now. Oh, the no audio bug seems okay. That's a good thing to know. That's very neat. It probably does have something to do with that. That checks out. It's my least favorite bug, I think, because it just makes everything feel so creepy. Chai still has not found a whole lot of useful inventory. That's gotta sting. And this tower just has been a closed fist. But it is not yet a closed fist that is punching his face. It's waiting. biding its time. It's just standing there menacingly. Oh, dragons! That's not great. Not what you want to see. They are absolutely tough even at a lower level than you expect to see them. Synchronized death levels. That's levels with death. It's not levels in which they die, though. Give them time. I'm not jinxing anyone. I don't know why you would think that. That said, I hope I'm not jinxing anyone. Yes, this is live Azure Dreams gameplay of the second tower. They are doing a race. They have 2 hours of free re-entries to get as far as they can, as fast as they can, and then one final climb past the 2-hour point. Winner is whoever gets to the highest floor in any particular run. To recap, this is going to be a little bit weirder than regular Azure Dreams. All items are concealed. We love this game getting attention too. It is a little gem of a game that has a lot going for it. I feel like the sort of genre mashup that it ends up doing, it's got some pet raising, it's got some like dating sim elements and town building elements, very light ones, but noticeable. It's got like a roguelike. I feel like this game, had it been released, say, I don't know, 5-10 years ago maybe, would have been still, I think, like right in its time. Ooh, yeah, Chai is just in a bad spot. That Earth Shield is going to be doing some work at the very least, but it's just a rough situation. That hallway went. Oh, and the Earth Shield is cursed. That is the worst case scenario. Everything that can damage him without being able to be seen coming is going to be fire element. So yeah, that's gonna hurt. The things he can see coming will be whatever the monsters are, but bomb traps, slam traps, and spells that hit from a distance will be able to snipe him and do loads of damage. And Jen, I think it's worth restating at this juncture that you can head to the Azure Dreams speedrun. It is not a mod, actually. This is entirely accessible through like a Game Shark code or the de-randomizing randomizers. You can find it at our Discord. Home to all things Azure Dreams. For speedrunners, non-speedrunners, we have a lot of different categories to check out. We have gameplay of the GBC version of Azure Dreams, if that's something that you remember with fond nostalgia or are just curious about. But this is accessible through regular gameplay, except you need a Game Shark to hack in the appropriate flags, pretty much. They didn't remove any of these elements, they just removed the door, or literally the elevator, but your ability to access those elements. We don't know why. It's probably because it's a little unstable. Maybe they never intended to be and it's a debug thing, or maybe they could not get it to be stable past floor 99 and they ran into some issues such as the awkward silence bug, which we discussed earlier, is probably presumably missing a bit of scripting for that. So those are more or less our options. Either instability caused them to decide, well, look, we have a functional game here. We don't need this new game plus stuff, basically. Because this stuff. Oh, this is not a great situation for Chai either. Luckily, the trap portion ended already, so it's not going to be too bad. Shauny seeing some mules? It looks like yes, mules. Those are delightful, but not ideal. And oh hey, tumna fruit, hidden tumna fruit. Not, I would not hop around, but then again, hopping around near an intersection is at least a little safer than hiding in a room, honestly. That is true. The item obfuscation carries over into the main tower, and that is probably a thing that they gave up trying to fix, I think. And I think maybe that was the big kicker, because it will carry into the main tower even after re-entry. It's a weird thing that, oops-a-doodle, guess it broke just a bit. Luckily, this tournament doesn't really allow you to go into the main tower besides the first 2 floors, which is probably for the best. Though, we've considered that rule modification or for a future version. Yeah. That is about right. It does, in fact, play the previous floor's music once a level up tells it to start playing music again. One thing we can say for sure is that the flags are tied to having cleared the tower already, and so this is set a little bit as having cleared the tower already. That is one of the things the essentially Game Shark code owned the randomizer is using here does. So, oh no, Krakens. I mean, at least the Cursed Earth Shield will help with that. That is me being, like, optimistic. That is me being as optimistic as it's reasonably possible for me to be about that situation. I never want to see a Kraken, though. They are just the meanest sons of guns. So, Chai is using a sword, so that's even less a situation where you want to see a Kraken. Oh, that is a big chunk of damage right there. Monsters that you don't think of as terribly intimidating, like, say, this here noise, get reasonably intimidating. Admittedly, that's not a great example, because Scarlet Wand and Fire Elemental Attack is a pretty big damage boost. But there are situations where you need to be cautious of things you've never even considered needing to be cautious about. Well, I guess what surprises me most in playing the second tower is always the enemies that, because you're encountering them at, say, a lower level than you normally would, you don't have to be as cautious about as you thought you did. And enemies that you can reasonably fight on lower levels than you normally encounter them, because at the levels you'd normally encounter them, they will murder you. You still pack a mean punch. There's just monsters you can fight and monsters you can't fight. And now that but at the same time, the assurance, the certainty of what is fightable at the level you encounter with is something that I would say most Azure Dreams speedrunners end up ingrained in them. It's kind of why, and end up relying on to make important decisions. But later on, Shauny's being very careful about this room. Not wanting anything to happen in it. Those are kids! You don't see those in the regular tab. Where those are the form of dragons that you hatch. Baby dragons, they're so cute and scary. They're scary. Not maybe the most scary thing on this floor, I'm not sure. Yeah, that is the situation where he is checking his muscle memory, because you never know. Might be Manaweavas on this floor. What do you know? Well, you would know through going out the room and seeing if any of the blue dots vanish. But as I was saying, the assurance of knowing what is a reasonable fight and what is a dangerous fight and what is not a fight you will ever hope to win, and on that floor, kind of needs adjusting and relearning as you go, and that's one of the fun surprises of the second tower, I would say. As are getting to see baby dragons wandering around. They're so cute. Shy on a floor with Garudas. That does hold some potential in the Garuda egg department. We'll see if he actually encounters any. I think we've seen most of this floor. And nothing, and that's a little disappointing, but then again, Garuda would just change this game a lot. Meanwhile, Sunny has a lot of seeds that need identifying. He's changing the name just to see what they all are. Septic is right. The state display, which is another one of our handy tools that Chai has cooked up in this case. Okay. Does display co-status, and displays co-status using portraits that aren't shown in the game itself but are available, including that cursed portrait, which is admittedly a pretty cursed portrait. One of the other things about the second tower that Shauny is showing off is that a lot of the items that seemed exclusive to Barongs are just lying around here. The second tower uses different drop tables. Those are different loot tables. Item tables? Yeah, item tables let's go with, because loot is really more appropriate for something where you kill something first. Noticeably, as the fact that Shauny has not found a wind crystal shows, One of those differences is a lack of wind crystals. And oh boy, Chai has encountered Batnells. And remember what I was saying about how monsters you don't expect sometimes punch your face in, you can't win, it's going to be awful? Batnells are one of those monsters. They are a nightmare. They have alarmingly good combat stats. They are tough. They can heal themselves endlessly. Batnells are unpleasant to fight. And luckily the Ice Rock Ball is here to make that a little bit more helpful, and that is one of, I think, the most useful things Chai has found on this particular run. There's still another spell ball that has not been identified. But also, yeah, that's a good chunk of damage for something that theoretically could have healed nearly endlessly. Identifying a sand, but it's just a red sand. Inventory there is showing off an interesting feature of the second tower's item obscuring system. Namely, that items you rename will keep being the same renamed item if you pick up more of them. Then that is one of the key ways identification works. Though it is worth noting that re-entry does kind of mess with that a bit. It will hand out the names you gave items to random things. I mean completely random things. Chai could theoretically re-enter and end up with a medicinal herb named Ice, for example, from that Ice Rock Ball. Don't know why it does that, but it does it. And it can be a little inconvenient, frankly. Shauny ending up on another floor with Collarjack Palimpa is always nice to see. I am very impressed in terms of just how well these runners have been able to keep it up and how few attempts they've made in the past 42 minutes. Chai still on his second climb after the first one, just had nothing going right. Shauny still on his first climb. On the floor 17. Yeah, there goes the deheal on the Batnell. It's obnoxious. It's dealing 20 damage on an Earth Shield. And Batnell's awful. Ooh. Really, everything is going to be dealing like a large sum of damage to Shauny on 17 or so. Oh, most things will, except of course for the Collarjack Olympics. And things you can dispose of before they get that far. You know, I feel like we start seeing a lot of the same monsters within a run of the second tower. I'm not sure what to make of that. And that is probably just a sort of biased information, but it's a thing that's interesting. And even if it's not necessarily, like, actually a thing, and it's just a matter of luck. Is that the same egg? No. I think this is probably still the form egg, but I do not recall what it was named before. If it is, then I'm not sure if there's a reason to go water or Cune. If it's not, then this is, maybe it is a Garuda. And you just have to take your gamble on if it's a Garuda. Or if it's anything interesting. Garudas are on this floor for Shauny. Oh, they have the same background, but it's just a flame. That's gotta sting. Those are probably from those Ifrits. And, like, flame is just Cune, but worse. There's store brand Cune. Diet Cune. Cune Light, if you will. Which is not terrible as a backup option, but yes, okay, we're out of the point where snowmen can be fought. The flame design is a pretty good design. I like Cune, even if Cune does look like a Digimon protagonist. Not even like a Digimon, though, yeah, a little bit. But like a Digimon protagonist specifically. If a Digimon protagonist was also a Digimon. It's the goggles. I love his little goggles, though. They're so cute. But yeah, Shauny has officially run out of the space in which encountering a snowman is a reasonable fight. And is now back to the normal thought you have when you see a snowman of, run. That's bad. It is time to do the math on if Cune can survive. He has decided probably not. Monster type definitely hangs around for a couple of floors, actually. Actually, that's not quite what I was talking about earlier. Basically, the monster types kind of cycle a little bit in terms of what we encounter. There's a couple of monsters we cycled in and cycled out of the roster. I sort of more mean that things that have already had a full cycle seem to occasionally just, like, re-pop up over and over again. But maybe that's just luck of the draw and confirmation bias, and also the fact that loading in 2 new monsters and 2 previous monsters does that. And oh no, Chai is hitting the septic special. That is unfortunate. Got barked. And that barking took Cune out. Now we're gonna see if Chai wants to use that wind crystal. Yeah, it's a Shauny special if it's a bark. Or that is the truth. There, Chai does still have an hour of free re-entries. If he wants to use that wind crystal. That is a luxury he has going for him here. But I suppose he figures, since he is still currently alive and could get out of that situation, maybe he'd want to. And oh no. Admittedly, I can see why he's putting on that Earth Shield. He wants to go away from the kid. It will go the other way, but, like, I shudder. at the thought of putting on an earth shield in the general vicinity of a kid. That has a spell, a fire spell, and it can and will use it. Provided, of course, it's aggroed, which is the one saving grace. And Chai? Chai? What are you doing, Chai? Why didn't you use the elevator, Chai? Why did you think that room would be worth something here? I suppose because he thought, well, here I have blooms. The blooms aren't going to immediately kill me. That might be better. Okay, using a star glass to get the whole floor at once. He really wants to find stuff. That is the thing, yeah. Better the devil he knows than the devil he doesn't, I suppose. Oh, then he has uncursed the earth shield, even if he still has the cursed status effect, because there's nothing that removes that but cure all. And immediately Chai decides, okay, the volcano is going to kill me. Let's get out of here and see what we've got. Acid rain, sleep, those are going to be things I think Chai will want to head into the second tower with on this re-entry. That is... I forget what fireball that is. I feel like last time it came up, we discussed, like, what... that the fire spells are non-intuitive when you look at them. Then that fireball might go on the ground and, like, Blaze does the fireball? Either way, this is now a game of can you identify animation? And in this case, Blaze goes over to the ground. Okay, thank you. I got them a little bit mixed up. So in that they can be a little bit unintuitive. Looks like Chai is just going to dump down to some things in the safe, some things on the floor. Mom can do whatever she wants with them. Teenage boys never pick up their rooms, she probably says as she picks up, like, spell balls. The pillar balls are a pillar animation. That is the nice thing about that. Pillar balls, very identifiable. Well, and this is a pretty good inventory for this particular re-entry. If the tower's not too immediately mean, this could be a very good run. Oh, that'll be a thing to keep an eye out for then. And a lean fruit. That is very nice, and also identified because it's the only fruit of its color. Interesting. I wonder what Shauny was waiting for there. Probably just the HP effect. Restoration before. Oh, Granoots! Those are the evolved forms of griffins. That's also scary. Griffins are, like, just on the edge of fightable, I would say, most of the time. And when you encounter them on normal levels, on 20, I feel like that's gonna be more unpleasant. Still, probably pretty manageable as long as that second one stays asleep. Shauny can really kind of go all day with a well-leveled Pune. And some AI ones. He is not always a fast runner, but he is incredibly consistent. As he is wont to tell anyone who points out that he's maybe not the fastest, but here he has a very sizable head start. You can see the max floor or on the state display that each of them has reached, and Chai is going to have a lot of ground to make up. He's still got an hour for Shauny to mess up and be forced to re-enter. Mess up or get messed up, depending on one's perspective. And in some ways, the longer that takes to happen, if it happens, the better for Chai it might be, but it also means that Shauny can continue to drive up his score. Or in order to take the match, Chai would have to get to floor 21, basically, if Shauny were to die here, which is admittedly very possible. Sabers are not pleasant. And they're especially not pleasant on not the best ground, but it looks like he did manage to lure it into lower ground. That's going to be the best fight available, but that's still a big chunk of damage. And they're pretty tough, and oh no, here comes another one. If he can catch a break, he'll be better off for it, basically. Did not quite manage to get that one into the low ground. And yeah, he can't do this with another one, so let's hope this goes alright. I will be right back after a small break. The disadvantage of this one race thing is that there isn't a convenient break time. So be sure to hydrate and whatnot. And we're back. A Mazar seed. That is a good one to have identified because it's one of the only seeds you definitely want, frankly. Well, there's, I guess, all pretty much the vanilla tower seeds. Seeds that are pretty handy. Except wind. Well, no, wind can be useful if you've got a fire monster and then you throw the wind seed at other monsters. That is the chief purpose of a wind seed. Up, U-boats! And are these? Yes, this is a bit early, but not too early. This is a surprise U-boat time. Luckily, Kuhn's gotten quite a few levels compared especially to what Kuhn was entering the tower with last time. So those aren't too terribly threatening. By the standards of U-boats, anyway. Meanwhile, Shauny trying to figure out what he can do from where he's standing. Because, yeah, that's a little bit spooky. Freeman. You know, it's nice when you can run into something as safe as a Dreamland fight. They are one of those great force multiplier monsters. Who are only really bad if you run into them with something else. Or something else runs into you while you're dealing with them, and then you're asleep, and then you're in trouble. Wenchai did get another wind crystal. That's pretty nice. Nice. They will have one more hour worth of re-entry until they get to the point of no return, more or less. There, I managed to make that right. And oh, surprise, Fanaweeva with a big hit! You hate to see it. Oh no, not another warp trap. But in this case, Kyun is pretty safe. I would not be too worried about Kyun. Yeah, right there actually. That was a much nicer warp trap than the one we saw earlier. I don't know. Yeah, that confused Manaweeva is unfortunately just gonna hang out there as a coin right next to the elevator. You hate to see it. You really do. Yeah, retaking the warp would have been a good one. Warp traps can be handy elevators if you're reasonably safe. Also, so Shauny is winning with a pretty sizable lead at this point. Shauny is still on his first climb up the tower. Yeah, first time you've seen a confused coin, it got stuck in, like, currency exchange, I'm afraid. It did not know what it was going to be, what type of coin it was. Just didn't know. Oh, Jarapita! That is a one that you pretty much only see from Barongs or in the second tower, and it's going to be very handy. It's a thing that's a little bit like a Tumna or a Nolim. Shauny is taking a small bio break. And a flat scroll, we just saw a flat scroll. Those are fun. You don't realize how good they are until you understand how Monster AI works and how it's really much better to have big square expanses of hallways. This one did also turn yellow and attack. That is what they generally do. The currency exchange will just take you an arm and take out your arms and legs, basically. So the inventory on Chai's side is not perfect, but is really pretty solid. But I think the only thing you definitely want besides more of this, please, more things, is maybe a Holy Bell, maybe a Scarlet Wand, and that would about cover it. For it in terms of things you desperately want. Speaking of Holy Bells, and for that matter, there's still that Scarlet Wand that has done a lot of work for Shauny in this first climb. Ooh. Egg. Sadly, best can be Snowman. Lucky Charm in the form of a Dreamin'. Though those are only occasionally lucky. But a block would be a good one. And that's not a thing I normally say. Hey, as a rider, I don't normally like blocks, but here we are. Oh, that is the room. I would not trust anything in this room. And Shauny knows what I am thinking here. But nope, it's just a suspiciously large number of identical coins next to each other. That does happen. And the paranoia only leaves you when it would serve you well to be paranoid. Oh, maximums. Oh, that's not pleasant. They can be a little bit squishy despite their claims of being almighty, but if they manage to, like for example, that makes it much worse. But luckily, a couple of hits and their squishiness goes down. I was going for a title for that, but it didn't work. It turns out that you can't combine squishiness and like highness or majesty. Highness in this case was what I was thinking for. Does not work. Let this be a lesson to you. You can't make a title out of everything. One could use squishy as an adjective as part of the address. But anyway, luckily, Shauny has had some pretty good luck this tower in terms of keeping items that he needs, finding items that are useful, and while there have been some scary monsters, there have also been interspersed with some less scary monsters. Those wyverns are a little more intimidating than a unicorn would be, but not all that much comparatively. Fire still beats wind, and wind is still not the scariest thing. Also, wow. A tune that has done a lot of fighting and a Scarlet Wand just rips through up, and there's that Paranoia! Paranoia could have served, did not. Isn't that just the way? The one time you don't check. And then you can never know peace ever again. Also, someone got caught on the top of the wall. Perfectly programmed, of course. There are no significant problems in Azure Dreams. Why would you think this? On the elevator, but going to continue to check things out. Now, Shauny's inventory is honestly very good. It's got a couple of another binding ball. That is really nice. That'll come in pretty handy in terms of avoiding fights, which is more or less the name of the game, but he does not get the opportunity to continue exploring that floor. And oh, spiders. Oh dear. Spiders. It had to be spiders, who are pretty tough no matter when you encounter them. Oh, krakens. Oh, yeah, it is just all the water monsters you hate in one place, pretty much. Over on Chai's side, that has got to sting. This is not going to be super easy, though. Hey, more Dreamins. That is at least the crowning mercy here. Yeah, unfortunately, the Dreamins are not great for EXP, especially with Kuhn having taken a decent chunk of levels at this point. Certainly more than you would normally see on this floor. It's the downside of certain things being much softer. But then again, there are things like Flames who are not remotely soft and still give you lousy HP or lousy EXP, and that's always awful. Looks like Chai making a decision about which Mana Weava he's going to try to bypass using its very, very small window of vision. Oh, that was very peculiar. Still, worked out in the end. I probably would have ended up abandoning the plan. Barongs! And like, Barongs are no longer a rare thing. If they appear in your second tower, there's gonna be a lot of Barongs, and you're going to have to decide how far you want to go with the casino. Oh, and what you're willing to use. I would probably... Yeah, you could re-roll all the things. Just a limit fruit. You could never stop. That is the truth. You could just wrong until the cows come home. But will that actually help you? Probably not. And like, you have to manage your gambling addiction responsibly, folks. Oaks, it's tempting, but it can. I have seen races lost to over-wronging pretty much. But that said, Shauny is still gonna wait. And Shauny does have time he can afford to lose here. It's gonna be a while until Chai reaches the 26th floor, though he does not know where he is. This is just between you and me, that this is a reasonable chance, and who knows, maybe that Barongs are the monsters that didn't get cycled out. Oh, Griffin found a bomb trap. That's funny. Also, love this particular floor background. Oh, that's a lovely item room. Chai gets the good floor textures. Shauny gets, like, good items. They are not the same, but, you know. That's life. Now, I think we've seen... Oh, there's the decursed scroll. Well, we've seen a good number of different scrolls over on Johnny's side of the board. I think we've hit most of the big ones. Also, that item room could be a great room if the monsters would give him enough break to check it out. Yeah, some things that can carry him is what he needs. He also needs something to arrest Shauny's climbing. Up! Paranoia that pays off for once! Hooray! Unfortunately, there's a blinder trap, and unfortunately, something is about to make his life a little bit... No, nothing actually came down the hallway enough to make life harder. Okay. This all worked out pretty nicely. Let's see what Chai ends up putting together out of this inventory. A spell ball, that could be a good spell ball, or it could not. He has a couple of the really nice ones already identified from his earlier climb, and so it's just a matter of what the ones that are available actually do. CC, that's a good thing to have at least identified. There comes a point. Oh, are Griffin and Granoots? Do we have a parent and child out on their walk today? That's cute. Scary. Could be faces in, but you know, cute. Yep. Nothing like Manoeva. Properly paranoid Shauny. We have learned enough about surprise Manoevas to at least temporarily avoid them. I would probably try and identify some of the spell balls. Actually, I would, because like a Mahel Seed can be very handy. I don't know how many I'd want to really sacrifice for that. It would sort of depend. Looks like a couple of that. He has a couple of that spell ball. Also, if it's something good, then he has something very good. And oh, it's gambling o'clock! Frankly, I'd probably try using the glasses just to see what they are. Maybe identify one of the spell balls. But in the meanwhile, a gift-wrapped opportunity. Oh, those glasses are star glasses. Good to know. Oh yeah, because I feel like he's seen truth. And it looks like Shauny is fusing probably to get Kuhn. Do flames have anything particularly useful? Not that I can recall, but unbarkable, that's fair enough. That does prevent a disaster scenario. Also, man, all those blue dots and none of them useful. Well, that is some disasters avoided, but it might also just be a matter of wanting inventory space and MP. So I think you do get a little MP off of fusion. Also, looks like Chai is carrying around his defanged friend there. There to make some good use of bow trolls. One of the things I like about the second tower is that there are fewer bow trolls. Because, like, even though they're not the most formidable things in the tower, I just really hate them. They're just obnoxious. If I were not doing this by myself, I would probably take this opportunity to go look for my little index book of monster cards. But since... Okay, yeah, Chai using the Jarapita so that he has a chance to use this Barong in peace. Huh, it defaults sword trolls after a certain level. That's good to know. Oh yeah, Shauny is in one of the sort of Romanesque wall set. It's a very nice one. Some of these wall sets are just beautiful. Egg. So that is more or less one of the better case scenarios that Chai had available. Yeah, one of those bells is a holy bell. That is a good thing to be able to know. Oh, and if you're lucky, you might end up being able to, like, actually try and use those for the intended purpose of a holy bell. Oh. Paralyzed with Kuhn in a doorway. That is unfortunate. Or not paralyzed. It did not happen. That is good to know. If it had, that would just be like your nightmare scenario. Yeah, Palumpas all go collar jack, and that can be pretty handy for you. They can have a lot of utility in baiting other enemies around, in like just being an enemy that you don't have to actually fight. You can just pick it up and chuck it somewhere else. You can use it to deter enemies. No, sometimes that part won't always work, but it's good to know it's a thing you can try and do. And yeah, that poor Barong did not. Okay, fine. It did a little bit to deserve it. Oh, Olean, that is very nice. Shauny's inventory is pretty chunky, as is Chai. I would not be surprised if we don't see another re-entry and we just see how far Shauny can push this. Snowmen are not helping with that push. But you kind of see what I mean, right? This is like the third or fourth time snowmen have cycled in this particular entry, in this particular climb. The tower is just in a weirdly snowman-y mood. Oh, that is an item room, and immediately makes me so paranoid. But also it's an item room. But also paranoia. I would probably at this point walk out of the room and see what goes and what stays, but nope, at least that's safe. Maybe there are no Manaweavas on this floor. It's certainly possible. Oh, holy mill, that's very nice. And a flat scroll. Oh no! Shauny had to go up trap just while he was still exploring that item room. That's gotta sting. Just denied. I once had an item room. One of the items was a scroll. Used the scroll. It was an alchemical scroll. Denied. The second tower's mean about stuff like that. Ooh, a stream wand in case Shauny decides, you know, I've had a fun time with Fire Cune, but I want to go Water Cune for like a while. You know, he does have that Palumpa, but if that's a thing he wants to do. Looks like Chai is going to hatch the block. Yeah, identify scrolls after the floor is cleaned up. That is a valuable lesson bought with my tears. Not my actual tears, but my spiritual tears in my heart. Still, that block is a good hatch. It certainly gives Chai some extra defensibility in terms of turning that Cune into a wall, provided he can find the right herb. Though I think I never remember how grandfathering in the bonus stats actually works. But we do have the blue collars, because otherwise we could never get the blue collars. Pardon? So yeah, we're just gonna go see them fuse. And Cune is gonna become much tankier after this. Well, with a little bit of luck and some healing of that. Block fusions, pretty fun. And we have the Holy Bell getting used, unfortunately. That leaves Chai with the less good bell. But now he'll know for the next time. Also, it'd be really nice if Shawnee, there we go, went to a floor with Naplas. That is your sign that there are Naplases. Here they be. When you hear a snore on spin end, it means there's something. Shawnee immediately going to try and hatch that egg, probably going to abandon hatching it at the first sign of trouble, but I guess with a picket floor, he'd want to pick it. He wants to pick it, that's what he wants. Actually, though, yes, Shawnee immediately goes, ooh, is this a picket egg? Because those are his favorite, and like, he has some of the resources to make a picket a useful monster. Here. Here, that. Nope, it's just an Naplas, which is one of my little favorites, but like, I don't know, I actually probably would fuse it, yeah. HP. HP booze. I'd probably fuse it, but maybe I wouldn't. And it could be a good backup in case something happens to June. Once you've fusing it with a picket. Or it could be... Yeah, I would say I'd trade Buckproof for times 2 HP, I would. Also, man, that's a room. That's a nasty little room. It's sad that that Holy Scroll is gone now, because that room looks so mean. I would hate this room so much. Oh yeah, that is a good point. He does have an Acid Rain if it doesn't crash. But looks like he's mostly just going to try and lead a way out of it. Which is reasonable. But yeah, I would say that double HP is more applicable to situations other than zoos, basically. That's what it comes down to, is you have zoos, one monster, or HP, like all monsters. All monsters damage your HP, having more HP is better for all monsters. Oh, that is actually a Holy Scroll, not a Restore Scroll. I would just leave it like that, but one names according to one's own internal logic system. Also, that room just got more, this situation got more annoying. I'd probably just hit the elevator and run. Yeah, he might be waiting for Kuhn's MP. He might also be willing to have that in a state of backup. Ooh, that is a bell. That could be very useful. It is also just like, don't get greedy. Don't get too greedy, Nichai. Yeah, reducing that killer does make the rest of it pretty manageable, though. Oh, it's a malicious bell. Okay, chuck it. Chuck it. If trouble comes along, you must chuck it. Da, 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 you must chuck it. Now it looks like he's ready to fuse that in for that HP gain. 154, folks. And it's already healed. You can just, or rather, it will be already healed. It doesn't take a special herb. That is the nice thing about Naplas, and oh no, Shawnee got picked. It did. Brother, why have you betrayed me? It's that sort of scenario. Yeah. Oh no! Shawnee, stand on a coin! There you go. Stand on a coin while Kyun gets his ridiculous sum of HP back now. Ooh, Stream Wand. Has Chai identified the C-Seed in this run or in the earlier run? Yeah, he probably doesn't mind too much, but the fact is, you can't decide if it takes junk or not. Okay, it's this run, so he will know it if he finds it again. That could be really good. Unfortunately, there's just now a killer. There's just now a killer you have to deal with, Chai. You see that green? That's the skin of a killer, Co. This is what happens when you leave me in a room. I'm talking continuously alone for an hour and a half, folks. I'm saying that in the spirit of jest. Also, oh no, that spell ball did not do a single useful thing there. It in fact made things worse. Killer now reflects stuff. Your options are pretty limited now. It is unfortunate, and like, oh, hidden stealth. Yeah, Chai now has to figure out what to do pretty quickly. Can you reflect acid? Oh no, Chai did the exact wrong thing! He didn't pay attention to what that spell ball did, and now he is going to pay. No, he woke up immediately. That worked out so much better than any right to Olim the killer. Just Olim it. Nothing reflects Olim, nothing beats Olim. Olim wins all fights. That's poison, I believe, right? That is such a collection. And their inventories are really very good, which is not what Chai wants. At least, Chai would not want Shauny's inventory to be really good. Because that just means Shauny has a better chance of extending this lead and extending it and extending it. Chai doesn't know that that's what the situation is, but it's what the situation is anyway. He might be thinking, or he might be taking a break. Can Olim miss? They probably can, can't they? That would make sense. Looks like Chai is hoping to handle the two Barong situation by not getting Kyun involved, but it's going to go bad. Oh, nope, he's just going to Acid Rainbow. That makes sense. They're both chalk there. That is a lot of EXP going directly into Ko. And there's that C-Seed. We're probably about to see a Water Kyun switch. That'll be a big one. But that is just what Chai needs right now. Yes, ask your programmer if Olim is right for you. It's, for example, it's not right for most of your monsters, but it is right for Kyun. While Water Kyun does not get spell levels don't matter in terms of mixture magic past level 12, which Kyun is at. This is the limit of what that spell can actually do. In terms of, I would chuck the Fire Sword if you're going to continue chucking. I'd chuck the Fire Crystal is another good one. It's not going to do you much good at this point. Right. So I'd say that these spell things, yeah, it still gains power, but like, it's so little that there isn't a great point to it, frankly. On floor 90, things are going to be very hard to kill, but that's kind of the case anyway. For a sword mixture, it's just not that useful to worry about spell levels, and I think when your choice is between a fire sword and a stream wand, you'll get more damage out of the stream wand if you've got the ability to get a water tune, and that's gonna be worth so much more than spell levels, at least in like the foreseeable future. Shauny's inventory is so stacked. We do have an egg on Chai's side. Most exciting thing that could be is a barong. Least exciting is probably anything that's not a barong. And I don't remember seeing... A killer did some good work for Shauny in our match earlier in the tournament, but I think that's about the limit, and Chai does really not have the time to continuously carry coin. Yeah, what Q needs most is his defense recovered, and that's just going to take finding the right herb. Wherever that is, or a water crystal, which would be maybe the best thing to get out of a barong in these particular circumstances. Also, Newell's on Shauny's side. That's less scary than a Batnel. At this point, a Batnel would not want. You can turn and pick something up if you need to Chai, but probably going to wait and see what those things are. Or they could be very useful. That could not be very useful. But, like, this is one of those cases where, like, yeah, it would be great to barong all day, but Chai does not quite have this sort of time. And he doesn't know where he and his opponents are, and maybe that makes a difference. Okay, so that is something damage dealing. That is what you like to see. That is a fireball. That is what you want. And a Jarapita for the troubles. That's a pretty good one. Looks like Chai is committing. He does have an hour to re-enter, but he's not going to take that hour. Chai. You could barong literally until an earthquake comes. This would not make it a great idea. But the temptation is so strong. Man, predatory gotchas started so early. And this is a very gentle floor, relatively speaking. I don't think we've seen a killer in quite some time. Chai. That's just the mildest little warp trap. And also, oh, there's a killer? I was just noticing that they weren't quite so common. Yeah, Roche, defense recovery for Kuhn, those are about the things you might want here. Here, Chai's inventory is pretty good. I would say it has almost everything you might want, honestly. So, like, I feel at this point that you're probably stretching it a bit fine. And yeah, that There we go, the sensible decision. It's not the fun decision, but it is, I think, a sensible decision. I have so many gold coins. Hate that for him. It's like the game decided that once you've regular beaten the tower, what you must want is loads and loads of money, right? And herbs. You want herbs and you want money. There are jokes I could make. I am choosing not to make them. You can make them yourself. Yeah, I've given you time to make your various jokes. Also, oh, rashes! I've been wondering where those are. Those are one of those monsters that I expect to see more of, and the towers just have not been supplying a whole lot of those. That's terrifying. I would want to leave this floor pronto. I would want to leave this floor retroactively. Frankly. Would not want to go exploring. They are scary. Blaze it. Ooh, stepping on the warp trap with Cune in hand. That is a lovely way to get it back, to get to the exit room. And yeah, this is so... Chai doesn't know his attack balls. Yeah, fair enough. There are a lot of them, and they're pretty interchangeable. There are times when one does that is more useful than the other due to doing more damage, but for the most part, they're often pretty interchangeable. Well, mostly because the things you'd use them on either don't die quickly even to a very strong one, or die quickly even to a very weak one. Like the metals or golems. And oh, this is such an interesting mix of monsters on this floor that Chai has. Particularly because he is using Water Tune, those spell balls are going to make a big difference in terms of supplementing his control of the elemental triangle. Oh man, Oline. We are rapidly approaching the 2-hour mark, at which point they will be on their final climbs, and both of them are, I think, pretty comfortable with that fact. Shauny certainly shows no signs of really slowing down here. And this is a comfortable lead that I'm not sure that Chai really has a strong chance of overcoming. He's still got an hour and like 18 minutes or so. Oh, and that's certainly a good chunk of time if the tower's not too wild. But like, yeah, Bloom's very tough at this phase. They are pretty tanky. And they are pretty strong. And that's a thing you can forget, because you see them usually at a level where they're not unfightable, when they're pretty reasonable. Also, man, that room would just so paranoid. I'd be so paranoid, I would just be screaming into my hands. But also, yeah, that's some big chunk of damage, and it's, you know, like, that's going to be very useful. That's one of the advantages of having that HP from the Napless. Here, Chai seriously considering his options in terms of how to deal with this fight. Luckily, he's using a Water Tune. The Newell is at about the approximate level it would be at normally, it's not actually all that difficult to deal with here. Also, is there more chance for a picket egg? Exciting! And that can be really good in the right context, and kind of in the right context. Or a bloom, which would just be reasonably workable, actually. There's things you can do with bloom. I'm not sure there are things you would really want to do here, because you don't have a whole lot of control over whether or not monsters are pick-upable, and that is the big determining factor in if you want to chuck stuff. Also, like, just as a frame of reference, look at how difficult it is to find a wind crystal in the second tower. Shauny has not encountered one. If he wanted to re-enter, and he's only got a few minutes left to do that in, and it's getting to about 15 minutes left to do that in, he would have to Olim Paloon. Paloompa. I don't know why I'm using the name that the game gave it. It just felt appropriate. Now the question is, do you just want to give that to June and see what it is? Oh, he knows what it is, okay. Blind picket, and there's something. Oh, I just realized that they are on a floor with the same background. They are on a. Oh, it has a unique heart count in the herb category. That is so weird and random. I wonder why. Why does it do that? That's fascinating. Also, glaciers. That's not going to be as scary for Chai as it would be normally, I'm realizing. I keep forgetting that Chai has a water cune. 7 hearts is a guaranteed sleep herb. I will remember that. We're all learning something here today, folks. And if you want more resources, I'm just going to continue directing people towards the Discord. Actually, do we have, like, just a full-on invitation anywhere? Here, or do I just keep going for the invite things? Either way, because we don't have, like, our regular Discord command and in the Azure command at the moment. So, check out the Discord if you want to learn more about Azure Dreams, if you want to check out our Scout, or, like, watch more Azure Dreams Seeds, if you want to follow the tournament a little bit more, be sure to follow our runners. Consider following me if you really want more of my voice. So, like, I could reasonably understand if you'd be a little tired after this. I'm going to need a lot of interesting things. Not a strong one, though. This hasn't been, like, that disastrous. Also, hey! 40! Where's Melvo? Oh, yeah, he's not in this tower. Shauny is just going to be able to keep going. And that will be a flame. That is pretty handy to keep track of. And we are up on to 41. Shauny really could go all day at this point. But now everything is going to be stronger than you would expect it to be, because everything is at a level that it's not going to normally be at. The only things that are the same are Palumpas. And Palumpas are the same wherever you go. And isn't that nice? Aren't they a comfort? Soft and squishy. Okay, they're the same everything you go after like 20, you know. Because there's color Jack Palumpas. Palumpas. Palumpas never change. I think that doesn't work in the non-abstract. I think it does need to be a little bit more abstract when you hit war never changes. Also, oh, that's sad. I'd be sad. Not that sad, but a little sad. Yeah, leather cartel is very handy here. You'll love a leather shield doing leather shield things like not rusting or allowing you to dodge things. Ooh, 127 damage! That is so much damage! That is an insane amount of damage, and nap less HP coming in clutch. Shauny identifying that spell ball as a pillar ball. Jeez. That's so much damage! I hate that! Oh. That's the thing with pickets. They are very annoying if you, like, aren't looking ahead for the sort of precautions you would need to deal with pickets. Once you have those precautions, they go down pretty easy, honestly. But if you don't take those precautions, they are annoying. And he is going to be chucking Kuhn in order to make it catch up Picket and take it out, get the pillar ball back, and enjoy his day going up the ladder. Elevator. I can identify basic objects and their names. Ooh. Another egg that he's almost certainly never going to catch, but this is a new tournament record, or at least a tournament record for grounded attempt. I think it's the regular thing. But yes, a second tower noise is a pretty significant nerf to your water monsters. They have some stat growths. Those stat growths are pretty wild. Also, oh, it's a parent and child out for take your kid to work day. Yeah, it is a 50% chance for a kid egg. That would be very good. That would be pretty rad. I will be right back. Yeah, 66% chance for a kid egg is pretty good. And it would be so easy to restore MP on that thing. Which probably is something Shauny is at least aware of. I've been making really good time this run. I haven't been commenting too terribly much because Shauny keeps pushing that lead into bigger and bigger numbers, though the actual size of the lead is not small. It's still in a sort of Zeno's paradox way, perpetually getting just a little bit bigger. We'll see if Shauny decides what to do with that egg. Egg, hope, be quiet, hope, wait for it, throw it at something. All of those are pretty reasonable options. Looks like deaths are back. Yeah, and they're just absorbing like 40 damage hits, and also are getting pretty dangerous, especially when Kuhn is splitting his attacks across both enemies, which is obnoxious and calls for some direct commanding. Yipe, yipe, yipe! That's so much damage! We are officially running out of the Kuhn can fight zone, and also we have a new floor record for the tournament. It is now 44 is the highest thing anyone has reached with or without Garuda. Thus ending our need to split it into grounded and ungrounded like we have the leaderboards. That said, we're running a little bit out of situations where a fair fight is sufficient to deal with most things, many things. Not anything, because a fair fight can deal still with some things, but the number probably going to get smaller as time goes on. I mean, it's definitely going to get smaller as time goes on, but you know what I mean. Interesting that he's decided to use the herb that, like, I think Chai would want, or is it the other herb that... Is that the herb that increases or decreases defense? Anyway, I only remember the keywords defensive power, because it would be a little bit funny if, like, Shauny keeps repeatedly finding the exact herb that Chai would probably like very much. Or he decreases. Okay, thank you. Speaking of decreasing powers. And yeah, let's get rid of the spider. No one wants a spider. Is that a water crystal? That would be so sweet. Water crystal, heck yeah! This is gonna make Chai's run much more stable and tenable. Because Kuhn has some pretty significant defenses now. A poison herb. And there are Barongs on this floor. I probably wouldn't waste my time with him if I was Shauny, honestly. Like, his inventory is so good that I'm not sure I would bother. And he's not bothering, and that's very sensible. Spiders are off. that was a stealth, okay. Very handy to know. That is clearly a pillar. Pretty easy for EXP, though. That is a good point. Also, 83 damage. Woo. There are some big numbers on display over on Shauny's side as we get 46. That is an impressive score. And we are just a few seconds away from the point of no return. This will probably be the final run for both of them. Unless something really catastrophic happens in the next 5 seconds, so probably nothing catastrophic will happen in the next 5 seconds. And we are past the 2-hour point. I will let them know that this is the final climb. They have 1 hour or before the tournament's end. Yeah, I want to keep them bizarre. Our level is worth a decent chunk. Well, okay, it's worth diminishing returns, but like, free level's a free level. Again, I suppose that technically just makes it about the same as a barong. No, not quite as much as a barong. Glasses. That'll be very handy. I would check the egg. The egg, yes. A kid egg, okay. But 18% heat, that's not a lot of heat. Shauny is taking a small bite. Break. It also doesn't have double HP, and that double HP has been doing a whole lot of work, frankly. We have seen single attacks that could grind Kuhn into a fine blue spray. Shauny is back shortly, and there is a pillar ball. That'll come in real handy. Okay, that was a really actually decent way of picking that. It would have some more attack power. It would also have more MP. Though Shauny, I'm not sure Shauny would want to fuse Palumpa for the MP. That would you want Palumpa for anything in particular at this point? I wonder. No, I don't think you would. There's no exit. I mean, I suppose there's still, like, tile invincibility strats. That's about it. And Shauny certainly would not refuse that as an option. Oh wow, that is so many gold coins. Yeah, reasonable decision. Particularly given the Mana Weavas are on this floor. Could have been on the last floor, are definitely on this floor. Any suspicious pile of gold coins is frankly nice for having informed him. Like, that room feels so cursed. Frankly. Oh, it's not cursed. That's very concerning. Oh, that's unfortunate. I mean, nothing came to ruin Chai's day, basically. And face. Now, is this... Shauny did send me a message saying that his game suffered a small freeze somewhere in there. It is recovered. It does fix itself. I don't know if this is the point where that happened. I'd assume so. You know, accounting for small delays. Or that this might be the point where Shauny says, oh, it's fixed itself. Okay. And has sent me that message. Oh, using the warp strats. Ending up... Frankly, that could have gone a lot worse, actually, now that I think about it. Could have ended up taking a Mana Weaver to the face. Yep, and there's one. The question is, I don't think there's any particular way around it, but through it is sensible enough, except that there is a reason Shauny names his Cune trash, and that's the reason. Because it occasionally does things like that. And we are still in Mana Weaver country. Everyone's favorite country. No one's favorite country. Who wants the coins, I guess, yeah. I mean, he does think your house is a dirty hovel, so he must be pretty materialistic. Oh hey, invisible stealth. Which aren't the scariest things on this floor by a long shot, but I'd still get nervous. More eggs. Shauny has had a lot of eggs and some very good ones this run. And there's that Mana Weaver, and yikes, that's a lot of damage, and I'd start to be nervous if I, for example, knew I was on a stealth floor. I'd be very nervous. I have made it to floor 30. That's still a, like... Okay, oh wait, he still has the UI, so that's handy. I don't have to squint. And that's still a 19 floor gap, which is pretty significant. Again, but Chai has been doing very well this particular climb. This has been a fantastic climb. But he's gonna, I think, have to get a little bit of help from the tower in order to have any chance of overthrowing Shauny's climb here. There are technically infinite, but functionally, like, things are gonna start getting weird and become liable to crash after 99. So there's room for a lot of floors. You can play this version by checking out our Discord, and checking out the de-randomizing randomizer, which has settings for that. Or you can probably, I don't know the Game Shark codes, but this is accessible via Game Shark codes. You just have to give yourself the correct flags and items to access the secret elevator. I will drop a link to the Discord. Hex has dropped a link to the randomizing de-randomizer, which has this function, seated towers, and many more fun functions. I think I'm going to, while I'm thinking about this, drop one other reason why I am a little bit... Yeah, this is a half clear now. Shauny is on floor 51. Very exciting. And the inventory's still pretty strong. His ability to fight has become significantly less strong, and we can sort of see that in... Oh, that is so many useless coins. Why does this game think you need so many coins? But, like, earlier we were speculating about why this tower might have been removed and what its original purpose was. And I think my argument for, like, why it doesn't strike me as simply a debug tower, there is one other piece of it, of that argument, and it is... 13 damage from a Dreamin'. These higher floors are no joke. But my reasoning is that the Game Boy Color version has multiple dungeons. It would not be remotely implausible for, oh god, Krakens and U-boats. I would not want to be Shauny. This is like all your least favorite water monsters in one place. Well, I say that U-boat at least has the advantage of being desirable as a monster for you. Kraken really doesn't. Kraken just kind of sucks. It is a bad friend and a worse enemy. But at least there's still stealths. Stealths are the least... Oh, this Kraken is just going to get itself killed. Uselessly. Yeah, Kraken is pretty tanky. So I guess in the end it worked out fine. But it's just going to fight, like, unnecessary things. And it's probably now going to wander the wilderness. Yep, this is time to about face. They probably didn't have time to, I would say, debug it. Because, like, I don't think balance testing were on their thing. They probably did run out of time to debug it, because there are a good number of instabilities and flaws and bugs here. For example, the item name obfuscation carries over into the regular tower once you start accessing the second tower, and that's not the way that's supposed to work, but it does. It is, though, really complete for cut content and super interesting. And I'm really glad that it's only dummied out and like you can just give yourself the ways to access it. And it becomes wholly there again. Also, Chai hatching this egg, not sure what he's hoping to find here that caught his eye so immediately as to make checking seem like a worthwhile thing. Oh, it could be a Garuda. Okay, that explains what would be a worthwhile thing, and oh, that's not a miss Chai wanted to see. That would explain it, and that would be the sort of luck that Chai needs here. There aren't a whole lot of options remaining for ways Chai can win this. It's not impossible, though. Anything can happen, but the pace would be pretty wild. Well, it's a gap of like 20 floors, 21 floors. That's pretty big. That would take, I think, again, probably not just... Okay, if Shauny continues climbing, that would take not just Garuda, but good luck and the Garuda. If something were to happen to Shauny, and it's a U-boat, which is not bad, that can do some good if Chai goes all out in using that and just going as high as he can. And if that is what he devotes all of his attentions to. Oh, did we see what that egg was? Or did we see what... Oh, he just, Oleaned something, naturally. Okay. That makes sense. And I just saw the light and I saw something going home on Shauny's side of the screen. It's time to U-boat dance. Which, on this floor, spooky. I'd just hop on the elevator and go. Yeah. Oh man. I am not sure what experience one would get, like, attacking a balloon at this stage. Luckily, he does have the advantage, and the balloon does not wake up, so we don't have to worry about finding out. Yet. I'd probably pull out the U-boat here. And, like, use it constantly. This is how far can this U-boat go, basically. And how fast. $53. Yeah, that's a level. Yeah, you can make it to the elevator before the Garuda becomes a factor. Oh, this is unpleasant. What do you have here? Does the acid rainbow still have charges? I feel like it shouldn't. Okay, that's a start. Yeah, acid probably would not be good enough. But luckily, the elevator's right there. And everything else held sleeping positions, so this pretty much worked out. Oh, Tovar seed. That is a seed you never see. That's the luck seed, isn't it? Luck, a hidden stat that this game has and never tells you about. Why you gotta do that, Azure Dreams? What do you think you're accomplishing? Chai, this is absolutely not the time to play the casinos. I know it's really tempting, Chai. But it's not a good idea. Well, if he's gonna do it, hopefully he gets into, like, the best options, but he mostly does. Garudas are not currently around on Chai's side, I don't think. Oh, a barong egg. Oh no, that would actually kind of be bad in this scenario. It's just tempting enough that you might want to use it, but it's like slow. It's slow, and Chai needs to more or less be going extremely fast for the remainder of his time. Right, thinking about what to do in this particular Kraken situation, and yeah, this is a sensible one. Okay, this is time for one of the spell balls. Yeah, Johnny is going absolutely to town. This is what Shauny can really do a bunch of very consistent tower runs using AI1, using a very strong Qn, but also AI1 and some patience is letting him kill things that would be pretty difficult to fight otherwise, and like, mad respect for that. This is a nutty climb. Shauny, probably paranoid. Yeah, look. God, I hate those rooms for, like, the Mano Eva paranoia, but also, man, ooh, that is a nasty, nasty room. That Chai has spawned into. Would not want to be him here. Also, dragon. Kids. Would not want to be that there. Jeez, 7. That is a pretty wild number to have climbed. Looks like Shauny is considering his options to get Qn out of that fight before it becomes much too draining to be survivable. Chai getting just a little bit of MP back. No crash rain today, yeah. That is good, particularly because of how unstable the second tower can be at times, and certainly crash rain is probably one of those things that is more likely to happen in the second tower, just because you might get a lot more EXP from that. Fighting things that, like, nature never intended. or the stable parts of the game never intended. Oh, poor U-boat. Poor U-boat. Poor U-boat getting poisoned. Oh, that's pretty handy. Floor 59. Floor 60, everybody. We are getting some big numbers. That is a blinder ball, which is very good here. Okay, these are like two very good items to have, just lying around. To have just picked up in a random spawn room, even. That is an impressive amount of playtime on the Game Boy Color version. Yeah, feeding the barong egg to the boat would be a really good MP restorative, and one you don't really see that. For a water crystal, that's actually really useful. That's actually the crystal you want here. As opposed to, like, the crystals that don't serve you any good anymore. Scout ball strats are pretty handy strats, particularly at this absurd floor count. And where things could pretty much... This is a bad room. This is a room you don't want to be in. Yeah, you probably need to use that. Nope. Shauny managing to get out of that nightmare room on nothing but movement. That is fantastic. And now the Holy Bell is a very good decision, because he's a little bit trapped. That is a water ball. That's pretty useful, honestly. In terms of letting Kid survive, or letting Kyun survive some pretty tough fire monsters. And like everything. And we are coming up to 1/2 hour remaining, and neither one will really show signs of stopping. Shauny is I think slowing down as things get tougher, and more situations require digging into that fantastic bag of tricks. Yikes! This might be a good situation for the water ball, actually. Yeah, I can't blame Chai for not wanting to keep the recovery ball. It's just not enough healing at this point, frankly. Hits are gonna be hitting real hard. Oh, Palumpas. Friend! But also Elevator and like 63. Also, wow. Wow, that is such a room. That is so many coins, it's very stupid. And this is a pretty entertaining spot for a reverse trap. The trap that hurts you, the player. Let's call this immersive gameplay, shall we? That's the word for what this is. Immersive. Oh, this is real bad. Chai is pretty seriously boned here. This is less than ideal in just about every way, in fact. Yeah, going to be reducing visibility, and Ifrit can sled, yes. Yes, it can. It could get real bad. It's fightable, and like Chai is clearly reducing visibility to try and keep as few monsters on screen as possible in this giant nightmare of a run. Oh, there are tyrants. That's well, delightful, really. For the frames. Frames, oh, thank goodness. That is your blessed mercy, Chai. The tower has seen your prayers and heard your heart. Floor 46 on Chai's side. This is some fantastic climbing. And yeah, Shauny just trying to keep out of any sort of worst case scenario here. And by worst case, kind of out of any scenario where he has to fight that rat. It would not be good. Oh hey, Vipers! Case in point for like how sometimes it feels like the monsters are a little bit lopsided. This is the first Viper we've seen in this race. And ain't that weird? But that's life. Chai getting pretty lucky with that golem's movements pattern. Now it is time to hopefully keep going. So I have to applaud Shauny for being able to at least do a little fighting on occasion at this stage. Floor 65. That is just astonishing. I am delighted. We are past the 2-hour and 30-minute mark. We are getting closer to 40. Very nice recently done, but this is a scary room. Would not want to be here. I'd probably... Yeah, that's a reasonable decision. Sweep it. If you can't get Kuhn untangled from it now, I'd probably... Okay, since we're going for the kill, that makes some sense given the stats involved and, like, the water Kuhn strat, which is a pretty significant difference in terms of what monsters are threatening here. A little bit more poison scouting, I think, but not one that works out because Shauny is, like, in a place where it doesn't get to go over everything. Or indeed shoot off at all. Also, I love how on Shauny's side we have a floor monster that corresponds with the background. This is the background you're supposed to see flames at. But, like, not on floor 66. Also, man, there are suddenly a lot more crystals, and I don't know why. Yeah, it is still going down, and that is a delight. Shauny has fed Meg to keep Kuhn going. That is still one of his most valuable resources is this Kuhn, and I think that's very nice. Oh, I would not trust this. This is not going to be helpful, Shauny. This will not help you very much. Except that it has distracted the killer for long enough to get out of the hallway, I guess, but that's about it. Salamanders summoned by the fire crystal do not recover, do not gain stats as you go, so the higher you are, the less useful you are. It's like he decided to surround the killer with a gnat, and then just let the gnat get the killer to back away long enough to get the space for AI1 strats, which worked. That's nice. Okay, that blind ball has quite a lot of charges for floor 67. Are we going to see the nice floor? It would be extra funny if the nice floor was terrible. That would be just a delightful treat for all of us, I think. That, no. Don't like that. I mean, I like that in regular context, actually. Mules were always kind of my holy grail. I could never get a mule egg as a kid. There was no particular reason for it. It just did not happen until I was in college, and I don't really know why. Luck just did not work that way for me. And now we will see what balloons are like at this level. Yipes! 80 damage. Yeah, this is rough. Shauny's able to find it, and like, boy, Napless HP doing the work, frankly. Doing about as much work as one monster trade has room for. Oh. Things are scary now. Shauny is in a scary place. Floor 69 dragons. Nice. He is coming for it, Sand Knight. Luckily, I think you will be timed out. I think that you will be saved by the bell on this one, Sand Knight. I really do. Yeah, basically, he could keep going. I'm just saying, like, I think the thing that will keep that prime from being beat on stream is the timer. And then he might go and continue it, because I'd continue it, frankly, at this point. But at 2 hours and 40 minutes, this is a run to remember. He might have walked a little too far away. There we go. Yeah, those maximums, nothing to sneeze at here. He is now suddenly in a situation. And those maximums, rough spot. Kuhn's offense was just not worth quite enough there. And oh boy, zoos. Monstrously powerful zoos. I guess they're technically always monstrously powerful on account of being monsters. Meanwhile, Chai making it up to floor 53. Yeah, that is some stunning climbing. And 54. But, like, it's still 20-something. It's still, like, 18 floors? I'm not going to do the mental math. I don't feel like it. You can't make me. Ooh, that's a room. That's a terrible room. Holy Bell is a good decision here, frankly. But also, like, yeah, I'd just leave. I would just walk in any direction possible, because I don't think that's a safe room. Okay. What? What was that? Does anyone know what that was? Item limit? Okay. That is unfortunate. Particularly because some of those items aren't items. But geez, that's a rough item to lose to an item limit. A thing I wasn't even sure this, like, did that. Absolutely wild, and I hate how so much of this is gold coins, and also floor 75. Floor 75 and floor 55. They are 20 floors apart, which is just what a wild run Shauny has had here. Chai has put on an absolutely fantastic showing at 75! That first bad run, like that first one moment of bad luck, just became an ultimately unstoppable wall. Even once Chai hit a fantastic stride. Yeah, Chai, like, broke the other record. Broke the previous record before Shauny's current one. He just had one bad situation that forced him to re-enter, and like one re-entry that didn't go well after that, and here we are. It became a 20-floor gap ultimately. He has played absolutely brilliantly. Bad luck can just absolutely screw ya. That's the tower. That is its essence. Sometimes things go wrong and they, like, spiral. They're cute. They're friend-shaped. They're admittedly obnoxious, but friend-shaped for the most part. Okay, now it's time to figure out... Yep, no Mana Weaver's there. Going to be very delicate about getting near that elevator, and cannot blame for that. Alright, I had identified the correct herb. They are only, admittedly, they are only friend-shaped when they are eye on your team, and the number of, like, things that have gone wrong because of Pickets is pretty high for, like, a monster that's not super powerful. But also, man, Shauny is in a rough little corner here because of the item limit. The item limit just made a disaster scenario happen. That's unfortunate. It is a store brand monster den. Oh, he is relying on the tile immunity glitch, and he's going to earthquake himself to floor 77, isn't he? Which, fair, valid. If it gets you there, it gets you there. And, like, he has the floor lead to spare it. Yeah. Ty's gonna have to eat the hit, I think. Or figure out something, or burn a resource. What is happening is Shauny has activated the tile immunity glitch. It's with, like, less than 15 minutes left to go in this match. He has picked up Kuhn and sent Kuhn away. This causes the game to think there is no tile. There is nothing in the tile that Shauny is standing in, and therefore the monsters can't possibly be attacking something in that tile. Never mind that they are attacking something in that tile, there is nothing for them to hit. Why would there be something to hit? You have sent away the thing that is in that tile. Technically, he is now going to try and wait out the floor limit, the thing that, like, tries to stop you from just hanging around one floor forever by eventually destroying the rooms, earthquaking, and sending you up. This is going to take a long time, so I wouldn't be surprised if 76 is as high as Shauny goes. Eventually the monsters will tucker themselves all out. But this is a very valid little glitch strategy. If you don't know what to do, and like, you really want to survive, this'll get you to survive. You will be able to say that at the very least, he is currently on floor 76 and he is alive. And he will continue to be alive as long as he does not leave that tile. If he leaves that tile, he is once again vulnerable and, like, super doomed. Shauny has sent me a message saying he regrets nothing. Because he can afford to do that, what else is he going to do? He has chosen to live on floor 76 rather than die on floor 76, and there's something to respect in that. That something is, like, pride, I suppose. Oh, the sleep ball was not a sleep ball. This must have been a ball that was identified earlier in an earlier tower climb as sleep, but the reshuffle renamed it, and, like, that's funky. That happens. Unfortunately, it's not enough, and Chai gets hurt real bad, and that's still not enough. Things are crazy strong here. So while Chai is dealing with this terrible Battle situation, and Shauny is dealing with this store brand monster den, which shows no signs of abating. There is a small chance that we are here until Chai dies, and Chai? What do you think you're doing, Chai? Ah, maximizing damage. It's still not enough to take out that saber, but that's not a surprise. So, as we approach the time limit on this match, it's pretty safe to say that Shauny has won, but also floor 60? Is that a 60 or is that a 68? I actually cannot tell due to screen size problems. Yeah, it looks like a 68, which is very... Okay, it's a 60, alright. That makes sense. And that's very formidable. And the gap is smaller now that Shauny is trapped here. Regretting nothing. Waiting out the end of time. Well, like, even if he doesn't make it, yet his run would, like, even if he doesn't make it to another floor before time runs out, he still, like, would not have made it to another floor before time runs out because he would have died. So this was a reasonable way forward, despite how anticlimactic it is, I suppose. Let's put it like that. And Chai carrying on a valiant fight. Also, what are you doing, Shauny? Oh, Shauny is walling himself off. He has left this particular tile, his safe tile, now that he has a wall of monster to hide behind. And now he's going to hatch the kid. Delightful. The monsters finally went dodo. Dodo time for all the monsters. He could look for a go-out trap in that cage. He could. That is a thing he could technically do. An egg, that is probably too late to do anything. It is the funniest way to spend the last 20 minutes. And like, he had the lead to spare. I would love it if luck broke, like, intensely right here. And hey, good. There he is. It's a little friend. Hello there, little friend. Getting some gold to feed the new son. Is going to be shut away to make time go faster. In his little monster cage. Where more and more monsters are beginning to pile in. Because they get caught thinking they can maybe reach him, but they can't. In a hallway, this would cause them to leave and de-aggro, but because they are in a room, they are just going to do the monster mash right outside his little wall of monsters. This is very silly. Shauny has always been a proponent of, if it lets you live, it lets you live. And we are seeing this in its full and beautiful monster dancing glory, and I love and appreciate this. And nope, that's just a crack trap. It's not the earthquake yet. He is not coming towards his freedom. Delightful. Oh, the gap has at this point closed to 10 floors, though also, like, 4 minutes is not enough time for 10 floors. That's just the breaks. It's pretty much, like, in the best case scenario, I don't think it would be enough for 10 floors. Yeah, if there was a perfect elevator train, then maybe. Then maybe. But it's not especially like. There are so many monsters in that room. It's a graveyard smash. This is, I think, gone from a stored-ran monster den to, like, just a man-made monster den. By the way, I gotta say, as a kid who had, like, a special interest in unicorns growing up, really disappointed in Azure Dreams' unicorn game. Their unicorn game is super weak. It's incredibly disappointing. There, I have said one of my few criticisms of the games that I consider particularly worth saying. Unicorn game, pathetic. Step it up, Azure Dreams. Yes, there's still more monsters that can fit in. The U-boats can come and dance under every tile. Delightful. $58. Will we even see the start of an earthquake before before we are timed out? Goodness, this is silly. Tiles don't matter to U-boats. Other monsters are still joining because all of the monsters are also using the doorways. Like, basically, all of the monsters are able to perfectly coordinate their movements so that every available tile is filled up with monsters, and occasionally a monster gets spat back out of aggro range, and that leaves space for another monster. We now have 1 minute remaining, and the earthquake is starting! We might see Shauny at 77 in the last minute. That would be so funny. I would love it. I would really love this. This would be hilarious. Come on, Earthquake. You can do it. I believe in you. It's not going to happen, I think, which is very sad. Alas, the dream is soon to die. And I will ping my runners and let them know. There's the earthquake. Will it happen? Will it happen? Come on, earthquake. No, I don't think. It is a dream that cannot be. Alas, so sad. No earthquake percent for us today. Match to Shauny, who finally got the earthquake. I'm so happy. I immediately was missing it because I was typing out the message, but like, good for them. Floor 77 and floor... Well, okay, floor 76, but you know. Floor 77 in our hearts, and 68 also in our hearts. That is a victory picking up kid. Okay. They will be getting their invite shortly. That was very interesting.
Hi.
Hi. I'm very happy that, like, at least within the stream, we were able to see the elevator take you up.
Yeah, I did a dumb. Hey, Chai.
Hey, Shauny, congratulations.
How many tower entries did you do?
How many what, sorry?
Tower entries did you do?
I'm now on my third entry.
I'm still on my first.
Yeah.
For 76 by the end of the match, 77 ultimately just slightly after. You both did fantastically. This was a wild race.
It was very dumb, yes.
Oh yeah, my first entry was super dumb. Like I was like, okay, let's start playing the game. And of course, probably you hit it as well. The first step, there was a bomb trap on floor 3.
Pretty much,
and
yeah.
Yeah, that put me in like, what should I do? Okay, let's put AI1, blah blah blah. In the end, I used the fireball. The problem is that I forgot to put CUNY out of AI1, and I just like went further, and my CUNY was dead on floor 3 in the first room, and that set my whole game.
That really did. That spiraled. But on the other hand, you still made it. You did up to floor like 68.
Oh yeah, the third climb finally set things straight. Like I finally got good items. I spent some time for you, Shauny, with Barongs. They gave me some items. And yeah, I was more or less set now to like play far. Thanks to the U-boat, of course. That's what pretty much set me up.
It sounds like you had a way more interesting climb than I did, because I just went... I forced my way through the first part of the first climb. I forgot to fight Ghosh for medicinal herb / possible wind crystals. So I went, oh well, I guess that's that. And then I found a scarlet wand, and then it was a struggle for MP. As long as I had MP, I felt safe, and without MP, I was risking it. But I think I climbed the last 14 or 15 floors with roughly 80% style. I'm just trying to find the elevator. But like, yeah, they're like level 70. I don't feel safe about fighting them. And then when I spawned into that stupid room, I was looking at my stuff. It's either, somehow the match hasn't been called yet. I'm on floor 76. So I figured I might also do Earthquake, and it should roughly hit the time frame. But then if I didn't hatch the kid egg, I would have been able to go up one more floor. So my highest is 76.
Nice.
Which is higher than Sad Knight, which is what my goal was, because his was 71. So
He said, where did he say it? 80, was it 83? Somewhere back in the chat.
yeah,
Sand Knight was starting to get a little bit worried.
I mean, I don't play normal, but this whole tournament is like, hey, can you do slow thing and play slow and do AI 1? I'm like, I can do that. If I have Scarlet Wand, I can play that. That's me.
Yeah, that's the thing that like until probably floor 40, 50, you can still fight with AI 1, but after that, even AI 1 is just too dangerous because you cannot take monsters out unless you've got elemental advantage without taking a hit. And taking a hit can end pretty badly. I thought that I can fight one Batnel, and turns out that I was very mistaken. I had at that time, I think, 125 HP. I think I was the level that I am right now. And Batnel took 124 HP. So he left me with 1 HP with a single hit. I then remembered that, yeah, higher floors are a little bit dangerous.
I found a Naples egg, though.
I had block egg. Yeah, so my Cuny had double defense. But still, obviously, like your familiar cannot fight all the battles. It's just too weak. You need to like do AI 3 at some point.
Oh yeah, and I was doing a mixture of AI 1, AI 3. Yeah. But I fused Annapolis into Queenie, and he had like 202 HP, so I was able to take those attacks.
Yeah, well, yeah, with that one, probably 1 or 2 or something like this.
Thankfully, I did fuse it because the dragon got a crit for 128 against Queenie. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, dragons are best.
Yeah. But hey, I did the thing.
It was a fun game.
You did the thing. You proved the validity of if it keeps you alive, it keeps you alive. You are still standing at the end of this match on floor 77.
Yeah, I'm curious what the couple of extra floors would be and how high I could get with my supplies. I still have 5 blinders at least. I'm a Hell Seed. I don't know what happened to the Holy Bell. I was trying to make the Minerva transform into it, but I guess there's too many items on the ground and it just evaporated.
Yeah, item limit. We were all pretty surprised. I'd never seen that happen before.
I wish I would have done that with a less valuable item.
Yeah.
That was my last Holy Bell.
Yeah. You could have avoided that situation.
Yeah, was it you or Wuga maybe? I think it was in Wuga's practice where he was very surprised that he wanted to play with Barongs and the items just disappeared because of the item limit.
Stupid gold coins.
Yeah.
Okay, any other things?
Actually, I don't know. What was Chai's highest floor?
At 3 hours, I was 66.
Okay, yeah, so I wasn't... You had a heck of a good climb at the end then, because I was wondering about that. Cause...
Yeah.
An absolutely fantastic climb, but basically, the 20 floors you got while... or might not have been exactly 20, but like the roughly 20 floors you got when Chai was re-entering those 2 times were the thing. They were all the thing.
Yeah, I'm curious. I don't have an easy way of leaving because I'd love to check how many spell balls I actually do still have.
What do you mean? You can just die and then you leave.
The same as checking things.
Yeah, when I die, it doesn't identify them before. It's only
No,
when you go home.
yeah, of course.
I still have a Plumpa for one more earthquake percent, and technically the kid as well. So if I wanted to, I could.
Oh, Kid is amazing. Like for the second
Yeah.
tower, Dragon is just like
I
beautiful.
I only hatched it after I got rid of Queenie on floor 76 for the immortality glitch.
Oh, okay, I get you.
And then I hatched it so when I got up to the next floor, I'd be able to use Kid from the very start, essentially.
Yeah, I think U-boat around like floor 40, I want to say. I don't know exactly where it was, but like somewhere there. And the thing is that like on the spin, I saw an egg, and then I spawned into a room with 2 Garudas. I was like, okay, now we are playing the game. But unfortunately, that egg wasn't Garuda. It was a U-boat, which is of course not bad at all as well. But
Yeah,
it's not Garuda.
my main thing is I still don't feel good using Garuda, and even if I was technically slower, if I found one, I probably would not use it because I was so consistent, and being consistent and slower probably overall means a higher floor for me than oops, I died in front of something because of Garuda, or I hit a trap or whatever. And I even started playing really cautiously. I started hitting the ground and like throwing coins everywhere, and like I was being overly paranoid about a lot of the placement of stuff.
Oh, one more thing out of like what have I done? Those kind of stupid gameplays. In one floor, it was actually floor with barongs. I was pincered by barong from one side and barong and killer from the other. And I was like, okay, I do want to play with these barongs, but of course I got to do something about the killer. And I had 2 balls that I knew that were identical, but I didn't know what they were. So I was like, okay, there is a good chance that this ball is some like nice spell ball. So I used that ball on a killer because I still had some distance between the killer and the barongs, and it turned out to be a repel ball. So nothing great, actually quite bad. And then in my 300 IQ move, I was like, okay, then I'm gonna use sleep ball on killer, so that I'm gonna put it to sleep, and then like handle the other situation. Forgetting that I just used repel ball on it, so I put myself to sleep. Killer, luckily, with a hit, didn't kill me, and he woke me up, and
That's very
that was
lucky.
fun gameplay. Yeah, oh yeah, and I somehow like I still had like Jeropida or something. I don't remember how I handled that situation, but I was able to like
Yeah.
yeah. In the end, I and then I still like I was at very low HP, and I had Cuny at low HP. I was at low HP, and 2 barongs coming from both sides. And in the end, I think I like bagged the Cuny and had to kill, unfortunately, the barongs with acid rainbow. And it was very small floor, so barongs didn't want to spawn anymore. But one thing for you that I didn't do that I could have, like, you know, my addiction to gambling, I had a barong egg and I didn't hatch it. I didn't get myself a portable casino.
I hatched a flame and I had to fuse that into Queenie to give myself MP because I was running so low because it averages them out, and
Yeah.
so Queenie had a fusion into a flame briefly, and then after that I fused the Naplus into it to give it double HP, and that double HP is the only reason I made it to the top floors, just because. So
it had the HP to absorb 1 or 2 hits. Exactly.
from fire things, yes, not from. The surprising thing, not a lot of water things on the upper floors in the first climb. There's only some. I think I found like 3 Batnels and a couple new L's, but I have yet to see a glacier in the entire 77 floors. And there was also Krakens and U-boats on one floor as well, but that was fun. How did I survive?
In my first entry, surprisingly, I was not afraid of Krakens at all. Was it first entry or was it second? Or maybe second, I don't remember. Because I found myself an earth shield that I decided to use at some point, and it was cursed. But that actually helped me to like fight with everything, because Krakens were not a problem. I had a fire sword at that point, I think. It was my second entry because Cuny was alive. So I was able to do like sort of okay damage to the Krakens. I didn't get any recoil because of the earth shield. And Kraken didn't really hit me hard. So yeah, earth shield, hype.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing is, so just one last thing. I purposely ignored all the leather shields. Screw the leather
Yeah.
cartel.
Mm,
That was intentional.
I did have a leather shield. Eventually, I had to give up my earth shield, even though I got so much out of it. In the end, leather was a little bit better.
No. Anyway, we should wrap up, I assume.
I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. Thank you very much. That was a fantastic showing. GG to both of you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much to the folks at Speed Gaming for hosting us. Follow the runners. Follow me. Let me join our Discord for more Azure Dreams action. There will be more races. I still need to schedule my next one.
Yeah, there's still 2 more potential races. Actually, no, you have this week off, actually.
Oh, do I? All right, excellent.
Yeah, you have a bye.
Okay.
The other ones
Fantastic.
have to organize their match.
Alrighty. Other people can organize. Check out the Dreams community. We would be delighted to have you, runner or just watch, or a little bit of both. Okay, I think that about wraps us up.
Sounds good.
Bye, everybody.
Alrighty, thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
GG, Shai.
GG.